And then later, I believe in the 50s, you actually went on tour with Roy Orbison. Is that right?
Orbison, well, we had broke up. This started in '57 when the Pacers actually broke up. When Joe Louis and Jack Nance went with Conway Twitty to Canada. We'd cut the band down and kept the guys that were married. So that cut Russ and Joe loose. They were unmarried. In fact, Joe was still in high school. And anyway, Twitty came home, Harold Jenkins at that time. Riley had hired his band in Canada. He'd come down the street, his band dog with J.M. and all quit him. He wasn't paying him enough, so he quit him. He come down, hires Harold Jenkins' band away from him, so Harold comes home, picked up Blackie Preston, Jack and Joe,
Okay.
and went back, and that's where they wrote on the Make Believe, and his deal started. Well, anyway, we went on playing before, me and Kern, Johnny Ray, and Jack Nance on drum till he left with Twitty. Then we hired Bobby Crawford.
Okay.
At the cotton plant.
And
we're still working 4 pieces.
Okay, when was that?
That was in '57, last part of '57.
Okay.
Then in '58, Bob Neal started putting us, he was booking us then. He was Elvis's manager, he was Johnny Cash's manager, he was Jerry Lewis's manager. And he and Sam had the Stars Incorporated booking agency. So we wound up, he got us to open different shows. He'd send us out. And Orbison's Teen Kings had quit him in '56 when they got paid for Ooby Dooby. They decided they wanted to be stars, so they go back to Texas thinking they were going to be stars, never knowing that that's the worst move they ever made in their life. And Orbison started traveling with us. We had that old green stretch Cadillac we bought when we had 6 of us. And there were 4, and of course Orbison traveled 1,000,000 miles, I guess, with us. About 3 years there, and was opening for K. We went everywhere. Never bought a nickel's worth of gas, and we'd get motel rooms. We'd get a room, me and John Ray room together, slept together. And later on we had a J.C. Cawthorn out of his guitar player, and him and Crawford. But Orbison would get him a $5 rollaway bed, roll in that motel room with us, and you'd walk on beds.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, there's little room back then. So that's Orbison. That's how he did Find My Baby for Me, because we were going somewhere on tour, and we met him there in Memphis, and we recorded some. Then after that, we went and he sung background, and you can really tell it's him. Then we went over to Lansky Brothers, which was on Beale Street, and Elvis was there. We got to talk to him some more.
Well, now, you say you recorded with Orbison. Whatever happened to those
One
original?
One was just released. That Find My Baby for Me. It's a single put out by Charlie Records. And Dave Travis, the Englishman, sent me a copy of it here about 6 months ago. Said, here's your 6th release on song.
Fantastic. Well, that's news to me. Have you got some copies of it at home?
I got 1 copy. There are no more that we know of, according to them. So he's made a few of them. I guess I don't know how they sold them.
So you've got a vinyl 45?
Yeah, a little vinyl, brand new.
Gosh, I need to get a recording of that. Well, so you were on the road with Orbison approximately how long?
About probably 2.5 years total. Then in '60, we were still around here, and I decided Twitty's band, he'd come home, and they wanted me to, Jack and Joe and the Twitty Birds wanted me to go back to Canada with them. That was, what Jack wasn't with it. Jack by that time was, I don't know what he was doing. He did join us on the tour, but he didn't go up there with us, so I guess he was sitting around here at home or something. Anyway, Tommy Markham went with us, Pork Chop Markham, which became Twitty. We'd found him over in Conway, and I went up there, me and Joe and Blackie and Markham. Then Twitty called. We stayed up there about a week or so, about 2 weeks. Twitty called and said, got a tour starting. Meet me somewhere in Ohio or somewhere up in there. So I was playing bass. We'd open for him. We were the opening band. And then Jack would play piano for us.
Okay.
Mark would play drum. Then when Twitty come on, I'd play bass. And Jack would play drums. And Twitty got so he'd bring Markham out and do a little drum solo on a bass drum, or not a bass drum, but a tom-tom. Markham was really a good drummer. He wasn't any better than Jack, but he was good.
Well, we're producing this video to kind of give everybody that might tune into the Depot Days website a little bit of flavor of what was going on back in the 50s that made Jackson County and Highway 67 such a special place. That now here, 50 years later, we're still preserving it in this festival. So, can you tell us a story or two about?
Why do you think you named it Rock and Roll Highway 67? That's a good name because every major band in the world traveled this Highway 67 and played either Porky's Rooftop, the Silver Moon, the Wagon Wheel, Bob King's, Mike's Club up there a little further from Bob's in Swifton. But this part of the highway was magic for a band. We had big bands like the Dorsey Brothers played out here at the Silver Moon because they had the money and they could afford to hire them. Now Bob Porky, he'd get the big Ernest Tubb and guys like that would come down to Porky's Rooftop.
Right.
Porky got the what now they call the redneck crowd, and but the Moon got Fats Domino, all the big bands came.
Louis Armstrong.
Louis Armstrong was here. Bob Wills and Texas Playboys. See, folks don't realize what a history Jackson County has in the music world. The people that's played there, it's just amazing. And the people when we went to Europe, when I first went to Europe, nobody realized that. Oh, where's Jackson County? Where's Newport at? That's where all of them, Jerry Lee and everybody else, that's where they made what little money they made in the music playing back then, which wasn't lots. But it was right here. Orbison, Johnny Cash, Warren Smith, and Eddie Bond played right over here at the Newport High School in 1955 for the REA Farmers Night. That's where I got all the pictures. I went over there trying to get out there, trying to get pictures of them, but nobody had took any of that. They wasn't showed up. But most people knew that. That night, the rest of them came out the Silver Moon. That's when I met Orbison. Cash didn't. He went back home.